Evening, everybody. It's 5:54 on this Tuesday afternoon, and this is your closing comment. It is video number 2065. Okay, it was kind of an interesting day. We were up, we were down, we were up, we were down. We finished with the Dow up 141.24 or 0.37. NASDAQ, which was down most of the day, finished just on the positive side, up $11.32. The S&P was up $11.42. Um, the second biggest winner was yesterday's big winner, which was the Russell, up 1639 or 0.85. But the big winner of the day was the Dow Jones Transports, up 322.73 or 2.06. Okay, the chart on the screen is the oil. And we talked about this yesterday, and I'm glad to say that we did bounce off both that trend line uh, and turned back up yesterday. And then today we have a higher high and a higher low. My problem with this is that, as you can see right here, the 5-day went through the 20-day. I warned about this a couple of days ago. Now, if we get this little back and forth that we got back in early January, this is a daily, then I'm going to guess that we can move higher. I said that in order to move higher, I would need to see a close above 73.82. We closed 73.31. And guess what the high for the day was? 73.82. Exactly the number. So we need to continue up, and we need this 5-day to turn up in the very near term. The problem here is MACD looks like it's getting ready to roll back to the downside. The reason that I say that that's a problem, not that I'm adverse to playing the short side, is that this is the weekly. And as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times since making a bottom here last May. We have bounced off this green line, which is the 200-week moving average. This has been, every time it's gotten down here, it's looked terrible. And my attitude has been hold your nose and buy it. First of all, you have a great stop if it closes below that on a Friday. But the bottom line is it creates a problem. When you look at this in a little further out, let's go to the 3-year. What you really have here in the oil is a blow off top at 130. Then you have a lower high at 123 and change. Then you have this lower high at 95.03, and so far another lower high. If this comes down out of this, I'm going to guess that we're going back to $50. And in case you think that that's not possible, I'll remind you that there is an election this year, and one of those two candidates is a drill candidate. And if that were to happen, we would go back to where this stuff was during his administration, substantially lower. So, could happen. Not sure it's gonna, but then again, if I was sure, we'd all be rich. Okay, so I'm looking for further move up, and we'll just have to let it unfold. The gold was up 8.5. It looks like it's trying really hard to put in another bottom here. or another pullback bottom, a correction after going to new all-time highs here of 2153, I believe is the number, 2152. We're just back and forth, but the bottom line here is we made a new high. We came right back down again to a 200-week moving average and started up, made the new high, and have just been consolidating since. We're still well above. The 5 is well above the 20-week. Everything is pretty much in line. So this is a wait and see. Bitcoin, I still like on the long side pretty dramatically. The dollar was down a quarter of a cent today, and the bonds were up 7/8 of a dollar, which took the 10-year back from yesterday's close at around 413, 414. Looks like 409 today. Okay, the wonderful world of Disney. Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Fox starting a new sports streaming program to be announced shortly. Um, Both Warner Brothers and Fox are higher after the close. Disney closed 99.29 and it was up almost $3. It has since sold off a little, 98.39 down 90 cents, although it was $1.60 higher than that. But the bottom line here is the reason Disney is down because everybody was looking at a sum of the parts calculation on what Disney was really worth. And it seems unlikely that they would turn around and sell ESPN. Um, and so they're taking a little out of it. Not much. Like I said, 90 cents lower than the close. Ford with a beat, 1207 up 48 before the news, 1313 a new high, last 1291 that's up $1.32 or 11.4%. Palantir with a big beat. And this morning when we talked about it, it was 1939 up 267. Managed to move all the way up over 22, and the last is 2187. That's up $5.15 or 31%. Enphase, ENPH, same situation. Earnings after the close. Closed at 100 spot 15 up 271. Since then has been as high as 117 and a half. Last is 116, that's up 1820 or 18%. And Chipotle, which is hitting on all cylinders, stock was 2487.74 up 1689, made a high of 2586, so 100 higher than the close. Last is 2550, and that's up 79.15 or just over 3%. And on the downside, Snap with a miss. The stock had closed 1745, up 70 cents. On the headline, it popped up to 1890 and then turned around and got cut practically in half. 1890 to 1173. Last is 1202. That's down 473 or 28%. Tomorrow we again, by the way, have a bunch of earnings, but more importantly, we also have the MBA index. We have the December trade balance, always a big negative, expected minus 62 billion. The prior was minus 63.2. Weekly crude, and then at 3 o'clock we have December consumer credit, looking to be the consensus is 16.3 billion. The prior was 23.7, and we keep getting surprises on the upside. just to make mention of that weakness in the NASDAQ, we had a new high on NVIDIA this morning. It actually was up $7 or $8 pre-market, but never attained that in the real world. The high today there, let me just check it to make sure. The high today there was just under 700, 696.59, 697.54, sorry. And then it came down, closed down on the day with a lower low than yesterday. So we may see a little follow through there. Meta was also down 454.72, down 469. DuPont had earnings, it was up 4.5. Lilly, same situation, new high, then closed down on the day. And of course, New York Community Bank, again, sharply lower, $4.20, down 22.2%, after a Bloomberg report said that the bank was being pressured by regulators to cut its dividend, and that put renewed pressure on all of the other regional bank shares. The regional bank index was a 1.3 decline. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning.